question again.
So you says, like model yourself after a comedian, or maybe see yourself in a comedian out there? Like comedian modeling, what do you mean by that?
Modeling another comedian is a really good thing to do. So there's upsides and downsides with this whole thing, okay? The downside is that you'll end up behaving like that comedian, okay? And you'll end up actually doing an imitation of them. I mean, I did Robin Williams for a while, you know. Whoa, yeah, you know, and I would do everything as fast as I could. You know, and Steve Martin was, you know, delivering things. I had George Carlin. I tried to write like him. It was all language, et cetera, et cetera. But you have to be careful that you know, don't so take on their mannerisms when you're performing that it blights your own personality out. Okay. The point of modeling is to extract excellence. That's what it's all about. I mean, and that's what I've done for comedy in general. My whole curriculum, beginning and advanced, is watching modeling out what great comedy writers have done, great humor theorists have done, and what great comedians have done and are doing. Okay, I've invented nothing. I identify, and if it doesn't have a name, a technique, or a mechanism, or a principle doesn't have a name, I give it a name. That's the only thing I've really invented. Modeling out's really good. The point, though, is to go, what's the technique? How did this comedian do this particular thing? How did that person handle it? Like with Steve Martin. Steve Martin was in a lot of ways smarter than most comedians because he, as a person or as a comedian, had to write for a character. The character was the jerk. And to watch him then figure out, oh, I'm going to do a really good trick, a juggling trick, or balloon animals, or play an instrument, or whatever you do, and then go, now, how can I make everybody laugh at this character being incompetent? Where he himself is extremely competent human being, okay? He's writing for a character. So, and watch how he would take where he would juggle, and then he would juggle cats. Right? So he's taking this amazing skill and then giving it to a jerk, so only a jerk would juggle cats, right? So part of that is that's what you do, is pick your favorite comedian and watch him and go, how does Eddie Izzard do an encore all in French? We got the key words of certain things, and then he spatially sorted and set the tablade, the table, and the monkey and the tree. He visualized them, and then as he said these French things, we were looking at the pictures that he'd created on the stage as he went through the machinations of him trying to learn French, as I remember, and those are the only 3 phrases he came away with, and how he would work those 3 phrases into his normal French conversation. Which is what made it so funny, that the only way you could talk to somebody is talk about a table, a tree, and a monkey, or as I remember. Okay, so how did he do that? The other thing I modeled out from him, he did a piece where they were trying to name Jerry Dorsey. He said, I'd like to see how they work that out. Okay, so he's like, now he goes into the world. See, this is what he did. He went into that scene. Right, and he became the agent, kind of going, okay, we're going to come up with names. So what about Monkey Bunk Hartitwa? No. Swatty Bot Titty Pot. Wally Bunk City 2. Hunky Bunky Toddy Tot. Jerry Dorsey. Nah. Waddy Bot Hunky Butt. Wally Swit Sunky Tot. Okay, and if I found myself laughing more and more, by the way, if you don't know, Engelbert Humperdinck's real name is Jerry Dorsey. That's why that was so funny. First of all, he set the pattern, right? So, what's the connector for all that bit? And I've never seen anybody use it since. I modeled it out. It's the rhythm of the name Engelbert Humperdinck.
Oh. Okay.
That's what every one of those names had in common. If he was just making up stupid names, it'd just been him making up stupid names, right? And it can be kind of funny, but it's not a joke. it's got to have a connector. The connector was the rhythm. He's smart enough, consciously or unconsciously, to know each one of those machinations, every one of those ideas had to have a connector, and it was da-da-da, da-da-da. I modeled that out and went, whoa, look at that. Wow, I hope someday I find some jokes I can use the rhythm of a piece of language as a connector, because other people are going to look at that and go, that's just funny. It is funny, but it's also got perfect joke structure. There's two interpretations of one thing every single time you did it. So modeling them out. So to answer your question, yes. And at home, do the impersonation of them. But ask yourself, what is the mechanism? What is the technique that they're using? What is a principle that they're kind of following when they're doing that? So then what you want to do is steal that. Because it's universal, it's public domain. Nobody owns a technique that somebody's using to structure a routine or a laugh. Nobody owns that. That's what you want to pick up. Pick those out and go, wow, let me use that in my show some way. Let me try to find where I'm using the rhythm of some language for the connectors for all. Let me try to reproduce what they're doing, but writing from there, writing original bits and original material.